We're back on the record. The case number is D519168. We've got Ms. Tyra on the stand. Ma'am, can you confirm for the court that you understand you're still under oath?
Yes, I do.
Very good. Mr. Root, whenever you're ready.
Ma'am, you testified that you brought the child to Jason at 1 week old to acknowledge that Dustin is his son?
Well,
Is that true or not?
yes,
Isn't it true that paternity testing, let's see, that would have been in 2008, right?
2008, yeah, right, a week after I had
So
it.
isn't it true that paternity testing wasn't done until 2010?
Correct.
And isn't it also true that you yourself, when the child was 1 week old, or even in 2008, 2009, didn't know who the father was?
When he was born, his hair was
that
red.
true? Is that true or not true?
Yeah, I guess I can say that's true.
As a matter of fact, you believe that Mr. Germano was the child's father at birth, didn't you?
No,
Wasn't he one of the possibilities?
he was the only possibility, the other
In
one,
fact,
yeah.
you were living with Eric at the time, right?
Not when I had my son, no.
Okay, when did you live with Eric?
When my son was about 15 months old, about 2 months before the paternity test.
So I guess that would be
2009,
Is
yeah.
that correct? How long did you live with him?
Couple of years,
And
two and a
also-
half, 3 years.
Okay, and also Mr. Ultimo was believed to be the father by you as well, right?
He was ruled out when I found out how far along I was because I was already pregnant.
Well,
Yeah.
didn't you tell paternity that he was a possibility?
When I first found out I was pregnant, I named 3 people. That was it.
And who
Any
were those?
possibility I named, yeah.
Who were those 3 people, man?
Would have been Joey Ultimo, Eric Germano, and Jason. And the most likely was Jason, but, you know,
Okay.
yeah.
And, you've seen, our, can I have a copy of the exhibits? Yes. Your, may I approach to give her a copy of our exhibits?
I got one.
And you have that, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay, do you believe that Mr. Germano was a good example for Dustin?
Absolutely, yes, I do. Because he changed, he was a changed man, or I would have never had him around me and my son. That's what I believed, and he actually was. Even Pam, the ex-foster mom, met him and was totally amazed. I mean, I would have never let my son call him dad. I mean, but that's, yeah,
Okay,
I do.
I just wanted to know.
At the time, yes.
And isn't it true that Mr. Germano has a fairly long criminal record?
Yeah, it is.
And he was convicted of several very serious things, is that correct? Felonies?
Yeah,
And where is Mr. Germano now?
I don't know. He moved to Michigan, I think. I'm
And,
not sure.
Now, since the paternity test in 2010,
Okay.
you knew that Jason was Dustin's father, right?
I knew, yeah, and before, there, the
Yes or
images.
no?
I'm
Yes.
sorry?
Since the paternity test evidence that he's the father, you knew since 2010 that Jason was the father, right?
Yeah, but at 10 months old, there was a striking resemblance in red hair. So it was undeniable even before that paternity test.
And isn't it true that from 2010 to, actually until the judge ordered it in late 2015, you did not allow Jason any visitation in
That is,
California?
no, not true at all.
Do you have any text showing that you were approving, are you saying that you allowed Jason to take Dustin to California?
No, never to take him to California. They knew he was a stranger.
That's my question, ma'am.
Okay.
My question is, from 2010 until the judge ordered it, isn't it true that you refused
Yeah,
to have allow Jason to take the child to California for visitation?
yeah, what kind of mother would I be if I let a stranger take my son? I mean, it's,
And
they
isn't
asked me
it
to take him for
also-
3 months,
isn't it
one time.
also- Isn't it also true that until the judge ordered it, you refused to allow Jason to take the boy generally out of the house?
With the way he treated him, yeah. But no, I still allowed him to take him out of the
My
house.
next question is, and after the first battery by Mr. Germano on you allegedly,
Yeah.
you allowed Mr. Germano back in your life?
No, no. I
Did you
can't.
testify that you finally got rid of Mr. Germano after the second domestic violence
The
incident?
second one was when he came out of jail and kicked my door open, and that's when I put the restraining order
And
on.
was Dustin there then?
Yeah, he was. Wait a minute, yeah, he may have been with Carol, and that could have been when she showed up. So, I'm fuzzy on that one, no, because Carol showed up once. I think he was with Carol.
You testified that you allowed Eric to call Dustin, Dustin to call Eric Dad.
It happened naturally, and
Is
it,
that true?
Yes.
Objection, she never testified that she allowed it.
Well, first of all, she needs to wait until the question is finished, okay? And then just answer the question that's asked.
okay.
State your question again, please, Mr. Rowe.
Well, let me change it. My question is, did you allow Dustin to call Eric Dad?
Yes.
And what years was that now?
That was, I would say it came naturally with
What years was that now?
2011.
How long did Mr. Germano live with you?
2.5, 3
right?
years.
And during that time, isn't it true that you allowed Dustin to call Eric Dad?
Yeah.
Do you think that, do you see any harm to Dustin because of that?
What do you mean, any harm?
Just whatever harm you may see. Do you see?
Well, the fact that he's not there now and didn't stick to it, I think that's wrong.
Okay. So, isn't it true that during this time, from 2009 to 2011, you didn't tell Dustin that Eric is not dad, that Jason's dad?
Justin was too young to even understand, but he knew Jason by.
Is it yes or no?
I'm sorry?
Is it yes or no?
Yeah, but he was too young.
Isn't it true that you wanted to replace Jason with Mr. Germano as father in the eyes of the child?
No. Absolutely not.
Well, if you say no, what excuse can you have for not telling the child that Eric really isn't his father, another man is?
As soon as he understood, I did tell him, he met Jason as dad 2 years ago. I introduced him as dad.
You believed at the time, from 2009 to 2011, that your son had no capacity to understand who his father was?
His father was never around, so it wasn't an issue really.
Well, in fact, the truth is that you didn't allow Jason to be around, right?
That's not true at all. That's not true at all.
Well, let's talk about that.
Okay.
If you say that's not true,
Mhm.
A, you've already testified that, you've heard Jason's testimony, he's been asking all this time, all these years, for visitation, but you've already testified that you didn't allow him to take the child to California, which means he's not going to get any meaningful contact, because he lives in California, right?
He chose
Is
to,
that right?
excuse me,
Is that right?
can you repeat the
My
question?
question is simple. If Jason lives in California, but you do not allow visitation, you do not allow him to take the child to California, that means, isn't it true, that means you're not allowing him any meaningful visitation?
That would be like handing my child off to any stranger that wants him. I can't, you know,
Okay.
what kind of mother would I be? I just wanted him to get to know each other first
So
and
is it
him.
your testimony that you encouraged contact between Dustin and Grandma?
Yeah, I encourage, yes.
Isn't it true that Carol has a very, very good relationship with Dustin?
She has the best relationship, more than Jason. She has been the one that has came around, like if she's the father.
So,
They have the best understanding of each other, I would say, more than so Jason, because
is
she's.
it true that you sent a text to Jason, which we now have evidence, refusing to allow Carol to pick up the child at 3:10 when school gets out on Friday a couple weeks ago? Is
Well-
that true, that you did that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, excuse me, can I,
You answered my question.
wait a minute, but still, I feel like I'm being entrapped into saying this,
Well,
and it's,
let me just tell you, ma'am.
okay,
Mr. Root is allowed by the rules to
Okay.
ask you questions that lead you to an answer.
Okay,
That is a form of a question that might make you feel uncomfortable, but you need to just listen to the question and answer the question directly.
okay,
And Mr. Balaban obviously can ask you questions in a fashion that would allow you to explain and answer, okay?
okay.
Go on, counsel, please.
You were in court for the last two court hearings before this court, is that correct?
Yeah,
Did you hear the judge say, in, I believe it was in the December hearing, that Grandma, Carol, can pick up the child for Jason?
yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Well, isn't it true that after that, you refused to allow Carol to pick up the child?
It wasn't that I refused, we were discussing, because it was at 5 o'clock, I believe the judge said he could pick that she could pick up Dustin after work. I didn't know she didn't have work that day.
Well, wasn't the order that she could pick up Dustin for Dad
At 5 o'clock.
right after school?
She works, she's usually not even off work till 5 o'clock.
Well, you're thinking of her schedule, but isn't it true that she tried to pick up Dustin after school
Well-
a couple weeks ago, and you didn't allow it?
It wasn't that I didn't allow it. It was not that I didn't allow it. My son wanted to come home and see me. That was it, just before he went, because he's been having difficulties with this transition. That was it. We were trying to discuss something. I was clueless.
Is
about-
it true that you refused to allow Carol to pick up Dustin at all, whether it be at 3 o'clock or whether it be at 5 o'clock? You
No.
insisted that Dad pick the child up personally.
No. I keep it myself. I gotta wait. At one point, what I do remember is what this is going
There's
back.
no question before you now.
Okay.
Now, you testified that your problems with Carol started, you recall your testimony that your problems with Carol started when she started, quote, pushing the child on Jason, unquote. That's what you testified to, right?
Yeah.
When was it?
From the start.
Okay, and naturally you resisted.
I'm sorry?
Naturally you resisted Carol's efforts to try to encourage a relationship between Dad and Dustin, right?
She wasn't encouraged. No, that's
Well,
not.
then why did you testify that your problem with Carol started at that time?
I've always tried to speak with her as gently as I can because it's a sensitive situation, that I have a lot of understanding and passion for her.
Well, no, that's not my question.
Okay,
My question is, you say your problem started with Carol when Carol started, quote, pushing the child on Jason.
okay.
Okay, what problem did you have? So the problem you had with Carol was because she was encouraging a relationship between Dad and the child,
A
right?
relationship that Dad didn't want.
Okay, and that's why you resisted, right?
Yeah, because it was causing problems with my son, yeah.
In
Mentally,
fact, you
yeah.
had, what?
It was upsetting him, yeah.
So it was upsetting
Dustin,
because Carol wanted Dad to have a relationship with the child?
because my son was going to keep reaching out to somebody who didn't want to be there.
Well, what text at the time did you send to Jason saying, I encourage you anytime?
Many
What-
times.
Okay, do you
Many.
have them before this court?
I do, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Between 2011 and 2015.
Jason
Do you
didn't,
have a copy of your exhibits before you? Can you point out in any of your exhibits, or any of our exhibits, what texts you sent
I have-
Jason encouraging a relationship? Show me one.
Can I show you on my phone?
No, I want you to show me
I have-
the evidence that you have before this court.
I don't know where there's any evidence, I haven't had a chance to go through it.
Thank you.
I mean, of course. I always have encouraged Jason to just be patient and understanding. When this first
There's
started,
no question before you, ma'am.
I'm sorry?
Just wait till I ask you another
Okay.
question.
Is it your testimony that Jason moved to California, you testified after he discovered he was Dad?
Yes.
That's not really true, is it?
No, it's true.
Well, according to Exhibit 1, which is the order is dated 6/22/2010. Did you know that?
What?
His paternity was established by court order on, you know.
And 2 months later, he moved.
Okay, well, he testified he moved in 2011.
Okay, well,
Do you recall his testimony about that?
a little bit, I mean, not,
Okay, did you know, you said you complained bitterly that you didn't get any child support for 6 years.
solid 6 years, yes.
Okay, but looking at the order on Exhibit 1, Day 3, he wasn't ordered to pay you, right?
Yes, he was.
Well, can you turn to page number 3 in our exhibits?
Page number 3, okay.
Look right at the bottom of the page.
Page
Doesn't
number,
it say it is hereby ordered and decreed that all payments made to the state collection and disbursement unit
okay, he didn't
Of
pay it in
California.
either.
of California, right?
Right?
Thank you. So you weren't supposed to get the money because you were on welfare at the time, right?
He still owed child support.
Right, and they went back 4 years.
Right?
Did you know that?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so he was already 4 years in arrears, and he's paid it
No.
down to a much reduced amount by now, right? Zero. Did you know he's paid it off?
The last payment, no.
My question is,
Okay,
did you know, you testified that he still owed $2,500.
yes, I did, in
Did-
2015.
Did you know that currently, as of today, he paid that off?
It's because he made a $6,000 payment and I have it on my records.
Well,
Just-
that's a good thing, right?
Well, I haven't got that, received that money yet. I just received yesterday a payment of,
My only question to you
Okay.
now, that he's tried to pay what he can all this time, and he's finally paid even the arrears off as of today's date. Isn't that a good thing?
well, yeah, it's a good thing.
Thank you.
But,
There's no question pending, ma'am, just
Okay.
wait, please.
So you testified that, now Jason, please recall Jason's testimony that from 2010 until the judge ordered it, he's been constantly asking you for more time,
no,
more visitation. So he's not correct, according to you, right? Okay. But isn't it true you testified that you denied him contact from 2011 to 2015, except but for once every 6 months, because you thought that was ideal for the child, because if it would work, it would disturb the child? Isn't
that's
that what
not
you-
correct,
Excuse
no.
me. Did you not testify that?
I testified that I refused him one time when he was coming out because of bouncing in and out, seeing him for a couple hours and being gone. See, 6 months goes by, seen him, I denied one time.
Because you testified that it would disturb Dustin.
It was disturbing him and that was causing problems, yes.
Isn't it true that since this has been your attitude, this has been your attitude all along, right?
No,
Too much contact by dad would disturb Dustin?
absolutely not.
And even though the contact you're allowing at this point is in-house, in your house, visitation, right?
No, he took him just recently to the park Saturday.
Well, that's my question. I guess I'm confused, because you said spends time at the house, no fun. Didn't you
Okay.
say those words?
Right, for when they
Isn't it true
first
that Jason,
met,
isn't it true that Jason wanted to take Dustin out for fun stuff?
before he
And
knew him,
you resisted that.
when he was a complete stranger, yes.
Thank you. And that's why you insisted on basically supervised visitation at your house, right?
Well, after he didn't treat Dustin right.
Thank you.
Okay.
You also testified that you denied it one time in 2015
Yeah, that's
because Jason wanted the boy to call people ma'am and sir.
Me. He came into my house barking orders at him.
Well, isn't it true that what Justin has wanted all along is for Dustin, what Jason has wanted all along is to teach his boy manners?
He was a stranger.
Is that true?
No, it's not true.
Isn't it true that in your care, Dustin has not learned manners?
That is not true.
So in your care, Dustin...
He learns please, he
taught
learns
Dustin-
thank you, he learns excuse me. That's manners.
Say that again?
Please, excuse me, and thank you is manners. He is taught. But I don't
Is
teach
it
him,
your testimony that you've taught Dustin polite manners in your
of
care?
course.
Okay.
But calling me ma'am, I'm mom.
Now, you described an incident on his birthday in 2015,
Yes,
and Pump It Up, Dustin hitting in the car.
play fighting, not hitting.
You've heard Jason's description of that, right?
I did.
You can appreciate the danger of a child acting up in a moving vehicle? Can you
He wasn't acting up, he had friends, they were playing.
My question is, can you understand the danger? of-
Sure I can, but it
Would you
still was
agree
not
with
called for him
Jason?
to squeeze his finger to teach him that way. There's danger there of breaking my son's bones of his fingers.
Well, did Jason break his fingers?
No, but he squeezed it to where my son's screaming, crying. And he said, Daddy, you're hurting me, and he didn't stop.
I see. And you've had the same complaint against a teacher that dared to grab Dustin's hand, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
What was her name again?
Angela Knights.
And you took great issue with her in the school because of that, right?
Yes,
And you took great issue with a bus driver that did the same thing essentially, right?
no, I didn't have to take great issue, they handled that.
Well, you got fired.
I didn't get him fired, I just told the story and they handled it accordingly.
But isn't it true all the bus driver was trying to do, with Jason was acting up and he was trying to correct him?
Yeah, there's ways you don't treat children, there's laws, and that's where he was wrong. I didn't have that decision, the school did.
Well, you certainly got him fired, right?
He got himself fired.
And at that time, did you believe that Jason acted inappropriately by
Absolutely,
grabbing his
yes.
finger? And what TPOs, if any, did you get against him because of this?
The one where he knocked the wind out of him by backhanding him in the stomach because he's on the phone. My son told me he hit me in the stomach.
No, you're not following me.
Okay,
You claim, you testified that Dad grabbed the child's finger, twisted it,
yes,
and he said, I'm gonna break your finger off.
yes.
Did you get a TPO for that incident?
No, I didn't.
against Jason? Did you contact the police?
No, I didn't. And at this time, Jason was more involved in Dustin's life, so
Now, it's true, you testified at the trampoline incident on March 20th, 2013. You said you went into the bathroom, right?
yes,
Okay, so you weren't an eyewitness as to what happened, right?
right.
Okay, but even though you're not an eyewitness, you got a TPO against Jason, right?
Well, right,
Yes or no?
right, but my
And that
son
was-
came in,
Excuse me.
go ahead, I'm
Excuse
sorry,
me. And that was a 30-day TPO, right?
yes,
And there was no extension on that
Nope.
TPO, right?
nope, exactly.
In fact, Jason never even got notice of a TPO, right?
I didn't, yeah, but I guess not, I didn't know where he lived.
But as a result of that, during the time TPO existed, you wouldn't let Jason see the child, right?
He didn't even call to see him,
Well, he says he did.
he didn't. And he wouldn't even respond to my text messages. I informed him there was a restraining order as well.
So, your testimony is you believe that Jason does not have the patience or understanding
Absolutely,
with Dustin. Is that correct?
yeah.
Now, you testified Jason has Dustin has a weakness in the fingers. Do you have, is it true you have no medical evidence before this court to show that?
I guess that could be true.
And because you believe that, you button the boy's shirt?
I button
Is
it,
that
brush his
correct?
teeth, everything. He can't do it
How
himself.
old is Dustin?
He's almost 8 years old.
Don't you believe that's extremely bizarre?
Yeah.
That's very unusual, right?
Yes, he got, yeah.
In fact, your testimony that you used a stroller for
Till he's
Dustin
6.
until age 6
Yes.
is extremely unusual, right?
For his safety,
Would you
yes.
agree that whether that's true?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That shows you the extent of his disabilities.
Well, it shows the extent that you believe he has. this
No,
disability.
no, there's difference, because even the schools have had
Well,
problems.
let's talk about that. What neurosurgeons have you taken Dustin?
Dr. Alfredo Meller,
Do you have any evidence from any doctor saying he has some physical malady?
developmental delays, yes.
Well, please. Physical malady which causes a weakness in his fingers.
It's on the school reports, yes.
You're not answering my question, ma'am. I'm asking if a medical doctor has written this in a report that you've seen.
Yeah, his pediatrician, yes,
Okay, are they before this court?
no.
Now, you've had plenty of time to present this evidence to the court, haven't you?
Yeah, I guess, I mean,
Isn't
yeah,
it true you haven't presented it because it doesn't exist?
no.
Is it your testimony that it takes Dustin 2 weeks to recover from one visit with Dad?
Yes. By not be given his medication correctly, it takes, I don't say so much Dustin, I guess it's the medication, the natural, to readjust, because it has to be given on a pattern. You can't skip a day and then give it to him this day. You can't do it.
Well, Jason says that he's actually not going to be well-mannered in his care, and he's made great improvements. It's only in your care that Dustin believes he can act up.
That's
Did you
very
hear-
false.
did
Me and
you-
my,
Okay, did you hear Dad's testimony on that?
well, yeah.
Okay, but you really don't know if that's true because you're not there to watch Dad and the child, right?
My son calls me.
Is that true?
No, it's not.
It's not true that,
No.
are you in California with Dad?
I know, but I'm on the phone with my son when he calls me.
In fact, you
And-
call him, you call Dustin constantly while he's with Dad.
That's not true at all.
Wow. How often do you call him on a daily basis when he's with
There's days I don't call. I'm not gonna interfere with his visits. I'm not gonna make it harder for my son. I mean, especially
Okay,
around
you
bedtime, I
testify-
refuse to call.
You answered the question.
Okay.
You testified that the child can't walk fast because it hurts him.
His legs, yeah. He
Okay,
could
well,
run, he could
I
walk.
guess, and you say he has numbness in the palm of his hand?
Yes,
Okay. I don't see any evidence by a doctor in your exhibits or even my exhibits showing that.
okay.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. The appointment in general,
Okay, weren't you ordered by the judge, I think it was in December, to give Dad a list of Dustin's medical providers?
and I did, and I got him on text.
Okay, well, I don't see that in your exhibits.
He's on the name of the pediatricians, and I informed him.
Okay, were you aware that Jason testified you haven't done that to date?
Well, of course, yeah, he
Okay,
testified
did you hear
that.
him testify to that?
I'm sorry?
Did you hear him testify?
Yes, I did, and it was an absolute lie.
Okay, do you have any proof
Yes, I do.
in your exhibits?
I'm not in exhibits, because this just, I didn't put down every text message like he did and manipulate nothing. That wasn't my
Okay,
object here.
all the judge wanted you to do basically was to text him, give him a list.
And I did.
In writing.
Yeah,
Okay, where is that in your exhibits?
it's not in my exhibits, sir.
Ask an objection, ask an answer. If it's not in the exhibits, we know it's
Oh,
not
okay,
in the
fine,
exhibits.
Isn't it true that you deliberately didn't do that and you still haven't done that today?
No, that's not true at all.
Well, I'd like you to turn, isn't it true that even at this late date, your attitude has been, at least through December of last year, you don't have to give him SHIT?
It was,
Did
and
you send, excuse me?
because he's
Excuse me.
a grown man, he could go and call him himself once his name's on there. It's not up to me to collect it for him and give it to him. I don't have to talk to him, his name's on there. He can very simply pick up the phone and ask.
Well, let's go through that. You mentioned one incident, the anaphylactic shock or something like that,
Yes,
where you had 5 people on the list to call
yes,
if
emergency.
there was a
contact.
medical crisis. Isn't it true that his name wasn't one of them?
That is true, he wasn't involved in my son's life.
Is it true that Carol's name wasn't one of them?
That's true, they are not that.
Okay, who are the
she-
5 people?
Excuse me?
Who
There
were
was
the
my
5
daughter, there was Pam Capello, the ex-foster mom. There is my friend Melanie. There was my ex-husband's wife. And I'm gonna clear on the other one, but there was
Okay,
5 of them.
if it were true, what you're saying,
It is true.
that you put Dad on the list of medical providers, why don't you have any evidence before the court showing that?
Because I have had so many different, numerous situations to handle, and my son every day. Hey, I couldn't get to it all.
So you're
I
busy.
just, No, it's not like that.
Okay. Is there any medical evidence before this court that, besides your belief,
Okay.
that Dustin has numbness in the palms of his hands?
Objection asked and answered.
Sustained.
Oh, okay, I forgot that. Okay, you indicated a on-dom machine,
The on-dam machine, yes.
and you say that's good for Dustin, right?
It worked.
It
Yeah.
works, which is good.
Yeah.
Okay, did you text Dad saying, gee, this works, it's a good
Yes.
thing, check it
Yes.
out?
We spoke about it in
Do you-
person.
Do you have any texts before the court evidence?
No, because I wasn't trying to manipulate courts with text messages.
Okay.
But we even, when he was over at the house visiting my son, I had him look it up on the thing, you know, and he did it right in front of me. So for him to sit there and deny that is
Okay,
Disrespect
now
in the court.
you say Dad screwed up the child's medication.
he does every time my son goes out there.
Okay, now, if you heard the testimony of Ryan Tomasano, the therapist for the child,
Yes.
did you tell Ryan of this?
Not really, no. I mean, that's not,
Well, wouldn't he?
I may have mentioned it, sure.
Wouldn't he have been the appropriate one to bring this up to?
No, because Ryan don't get involved in this.
Well, he's a child's therapist.
Yeah, he's a child's therapist. He don't get involved in mom and dad stuff.
Okay, did you bring it up to this court, that this allegation anyway?
I brought it to my attorney.
Okay, did you send any texts to Dad saying,
Yes.
hey, you know, there's been a problem here with his medication? Did you do that?
Yes.
Okay, is that in evidence?
Again, no.
As a matter of fact, Mr. Tomasino testifies that you refused to allow him to go to school to observe
Yes.
Dustin. Is that true?
Yes, for the reason that my son
I
is
didn't
not
ask
in
you
the
the
correct place to get a correct diagnosis, to get a correct visual. He's in a class with seriously emotionally disturbed kids. It's not gonna be his normal behavior, so therefore it's all gonna be false. I'm trying to get my son on the right track, where he's in the right class. It's all bad from there. That's the only reason. Once my son is in the class where he should be, where he's getting the correct help with the correct crowd, he's more than welcome, and we spoke about that.
But doesn't Ryan want only the best for Dustin?
Yes, but at the same time,
But
it
you didn't
wouldn't be,
allow him to do his job, right?
that's not true. That's
Okay,
not true.
Is it true that you refused to allow Ryan to communicate with Carol regarding Dustin?
Oh, no, I'm the one who brought Carol in with Ryan.
Okay, you recall that Ryan testified to that.
Yeah, because I did refuse it after I seen it was nothing but ill will again. It wasn't because of concern for Dustin, to learn about Dustin. It was what they could get against me for court. That's all it was. So that's why I refused it. I mean, I'm looking for true sincerity, care. Like when I opened with Jason,
Okay, now I'd like to turn to your testimony that you said that when you had this addiction problem,
okay,
you asked Jason for $1,000, and what happened was he paid Carol, he wired Carol the money, and Carol paid the land, right?
right, and she came and got my 500 for me.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. That's all I wanted to know. And you testified that, let me get there. I'm going to Exhibit 3, but before I go there, you testified that you asked him for $1,000, and you offered to take $2,000 off his child support arrears.
Including his 1,000. Yes,
Was
okay.
that your testimony?
Yes.
Okay, isn't it true that's a lie?
No.
Isn't it true that you asked him for $1,000, but you told him by a text that you were going to tell child support that he paid you $2,000?
Yeah, that's the same thing. That's.
You want me to read it to you now?
Well, I'm not
Question,
disagreeing
objection.
with you.
Sustained. The question's been asked and answered, and the evidence, or the best evidence of the communication is the text that's been admitted.
Yes, sir. Isn't there a great distinction between saying, I will agree to reduce your arrears $2,000 versus I will agree to lie to child? What you were offering was you would lie to the child support division. Is that
Yeah.
accurate?
Yeah.
And that's wrong, right?
Well, I was desperate, yeah. I was just trying to make it more
There's no
favorable.
question pending, ma'am. You're not helping
Okay.
the process by
Okay.
offering information that's not responsive to the
Now,
question.
do you recall your testimony that you testified that when Jason discovered a child was receiving disability, he decided to go after custody. Do you recall words to that effect?
Yes,
Do you really believe that Jason brought this action purely for monetary reasons?
yes, I do.
You don't see any evidence at all which can disturb an average parent.
No,
So you believe Jason has no good intentions.
correct.
As a matter of fact, you described him in Exhibit 3 on Bait 11 basically as a sperm donor.
Yeah, correct.
And that's been your attitude from birth of Jason forward, right? Even now, right?
No,
Well, now you described you were convicted of petty larceny in 2013, right?
yes.
And what were you convicted of stealing?
I don't know, it was some miscellaneous stuff that was on the top of my son's stroller. I went through the line, I bought him a CD, I was having a rough time. I don't even know, it was nothing big, I don't know.
Okay, if you don't know, you don't know.
Forgot exactly what was I had in
Now, you talked about, is it your belief that your son needs you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Because you testified to that, right?
there. Okay, that's tricky.
I just want to know if
Well,
you
I'll
testified
object,
to
it
that.
doesn't characterize accurately her testimony. She never
It's
testified to that.
cross-examination, Mr. Vanburen. He can ask the question the way that he wants to.
Okay, yes, I'll say yes. Yes.
And did you establish a Facebook page for Dustin?
Yes, I did, and everybody knows that
And how
it's me.
old, I just want to know if
Okay.
you did. How old was he when you did that?
This was just about 6 months ago.
About 6 months ago?
Yeah,
Okay. And so you testified that Dustin can't read, right?
yeah.
And so even though he has a Facebook page, according to you, he just can't read what's on there. He can see pictures though, right?
But he's never in the computer with that. He has an ABC mouse and stuff, but he doesn't even know how to get to Facebook on the computer.
Ma'am, I'm going to show you a series of photos that I
Okay.
gave to the other side before the last hearing. Can I have those for this turn?
Well, sure.
And
I'm going to object on relevance grounds.
I don't even know what it is.
Your Honor, it's
These are
just-
these are printouts from
That's
the
from my-
Facebook page.
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
All right, that's fine. Overrule.
Ma'am, I'm going to very briefly and quickly show you a series of pictures. I want you to tell me if they're on Dustin's Facebook page.
Okay, yes, and I can explain to you without you even showing me.
Okay,
It's
that's,
not-
that's all I want to know from you.
Okay,
Okay.
accidentally, there were times I was logged on,
Okay,
and I
now,
didn't even know.
I'm
that-
showing you a picture of a young Robert De Niro. It says, "I don't trust no effing body." Is that on
Right.
his Facebook page?
It accidentally was, yes.
Okay, and on Dustin's Facebook page,
Right.
is there a picture saying, quote, "I'm gonna go F shit up"?
Yeah, and that was my bad with the
You
logging
comment.
on.
Okay, and on his Facebook page, there's a
That again
picture
was
of
supposed to be
Albert
mine.
Einstein that says, "The thing about smart mother effers," I don't wanna cuss before this court now, effers is, they sound like crazy mother effers.
Yes, and again, these were mistakes, and even my daughter informed me that this stuff was getting posted on his page, and it was an accident because the login on my phone, I'm not good with computer stuff anyways, but it was never intended for that to be on my son's page. I would never have done that.
Well, are they taken down now?
They'll be taken down immediately as soon as I get home. I'm not on Facebook a lot.
Okay, and on Dustin's Facebook page, there's,
Again, yeah.
sex according to your sign.
It would be a complete accident, and like I said,
Okay,
that was
and on
never
Dustin's
intended.
Facebook page is a picture of Kermit the Frog, and it says,
Yeah,
"When you
and
live in
again, it's
probation
not
office."
supposed to be on his page,
Man,
absolutely.
quit talking while he's asking you a question.
Okay,
All right, this is not a dialogue. He'll ask you a question, and if he wants you to respond, then you'll answer his question.
okay,
And there's, on his Facebook page, there's a picture of the Joker in the movie Batman 2 saying, if you know I'm crazy, why you keep effing with me?
I don't think that's on his page.
Is that on your page?
Or maybe, yes, absolutely, it's on my page.
And on Dustin's page, it has
Yeah.
an orange chicken talking to 5 black chickens saying, what's up my N-I-G-G-A, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and on his page, all right. And on his Facebook page, there's a picture of a woman, and the caption is, being the black sheep of the family is like being famous. There's always someone. Okay, is that true?
Yes.
And on Dustin's Facebook page, there's a picture of 3 skulls and old school code on it. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Isn't that a gang sign?
Not that I'm aware of.
And on his Facebook page, there's a picture of the Joker again in Batman 2, and the caption is, didn't your parents teach you not to F with
Yes.
crazy people?
Yes.
All right. Ma'am, I show this to you because Dustin has been diagnosed, everyone can agree, with oppositional defiance
Yes.
disorder. Is that correct?
Yes.
Basically, he's a defiant kid.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Yes.
Wouldn't those pictures tend to fuel a desire to be more defiant?
He don't see them, but
Well, he
yeah.
can see, right?
He don't see none of it.
Well, he can see pictures, right?
He don't see these pictures. He don't get on it. He don't have nothing to do with it. It's all me, and everybody knows it's me.
Well, why do you place the Facebook
I didn't-
in his name?
I didn't intend to have them pictures on his Facebook. It was an accident. The logging on the phone. I mean, I do this stuff on my phone. It was just an accident.
Well, would you agree that
Now that I know him,
we disagree that Dustin can't read, but would you agree that, according to you, if Dustin can read, these pictures would be completely inappropriate?
well, he's not going to have time to see me because I want to get him down immediately. I did not even realize
Well,
to
it's
this day,
true.
sitting right here, that they were there.
Well, you say this because we're bringing litigation now, right?
No, not at all.
Well, they're not down yet, right, all these pictures?
I wasn't even aware of them being on his
So
page.
yes or no?
I'm sorry.
Yes or no? They're not down yet, these pictures are not down.
I can't. I don't know.
Does Dustin have access to his Facebook page?
No, he doesn't know how to do any of it.
Now, you testified your daughter, you used your daughter for babysitting, right?
When she can, yes.
Jason testified that he walked into your house and her daughter and her boyfriend were smoking pot in front of Dustin.
That's what he testified.
Okay, is that true? Do you know if that's true?
No, it's not true. They
Do you
were.
know if your daughter uses drugs?
She does not use drugs. It was tobacco
Is
they
it
were
true that
rolling.
your daughter
It
was involved in a high-speed chase involving gunfire?
My daughter was innocently caught.
I just want to
Innocently
know
caught.
if it's true.
I'm sorry.
I just want to know if it's true.
Yes.
When?
4 years ago,
Okay. And she was with who?
Eric's cousins,
And she
Jason's
was charged
friends.
with a crime, right?
I'm sorry.
She was charged with a crime?
No, she wasn't arrested or nothing.
She was just in the car.
Yes. She was in the car. Yeah.
Did it involve being in a stolen car?
No.
But you said your daughter doesn't have the patience really with Dustin, is that correct?
After so long, or a couple hours, and it's very understandable because Dustin is nobody wants to watch that boy. I'm telling you, people don't want to watch him.
Okay, now I'd like you to turn to exhibit 31,
I'm not a grandmother.
starting with, that starts at page 283.
Page 31.
I'm sorry, exhibit 31, date, or page 283.
283.
283, yeah. Actually, I want you to go to page 289.
9, 3, page. Okay, where am I at? Page 292, 89, I'm there.
Okay, now it says in there, for the period 2014-2015, on the right side of the page, absent AM 143, PM 137, total 280.
Okay.
You're not contesting that Dustin has been substantially missing school for the last 2 to 3 years. Are you?
No, that's false, not for 2 to 3 years.
Well, for how long would you say?
Just Manch Elementary, since Manch Elementary, which was last year, 2nd grade, now 1st grade.
Okay, well, weren't you counseled by CPS in December of 2014 because Dustin had been missing so much school?
They can't, yes,
Is
they,
that true?
yeah,
As a matter of fact, Mr. Tomiano testified that he called CPS on you. Is that true?
yes,
Because Dustin had been missing so much school.
yes.
And the next page, page 290, I want to go through that with you because you brought it up.
Okay.
Well, you first testified you had Dustin pre-kindergarten, age 3.
Yes.
If
Well,
you were home all day, why would you do that?
the state did that once they gave him disabilities of developmental delays. Because he was a disabled child, he was put on medication. The state, he went on disability. It was the state who required him to get tested. It was the state who got him into this. To help him and give him a better head
Now,
start.
according to page 290, it says release and transfer 8/28/14 from Loman School, right?
No, not, it wasn't from Loman. They kicked him out of Loman after attending it for 3 weeks, which is a regular zone school.
Well, it says for reason for withdrawal and person requesting whereabouts unknown.
I didn't withdraw him.
Okay, it says whereabouts unknown. What do you think they
He
meant
went
by
to
that?
school right next door, which is Manch Elementary.
On-
I had
on
nothing
pa-
to do, I
on-
don't know.
On page 290, did you sign page 290 anywhere?
Yeah,
It says Danielle Tyra, right?
yeah, it does, but I did not,
Isn't it true that you blamed it on a principal, but actually you decided to
No.
withdraw him after only about 3 weeks?
no, because see,
Well,
these
let's go
pages
through
can be,
that. Let's go through that.
okay,
It says enter date 8/25/14. Do you see that?
enter date,
And then exit date 9/16/14. That's
See-
about 3 weeks, right?
okay, yeah, yeah.
And in fact, you were the one who withdrew him from his school.
Excuse me, no, they,
Okay, I go on to the next page.
okay,
Page 291. From Lois Craig, 9/30/13 to March 12/14. So I went to school in about 6 months, give or take.
and then they
Is
sent,
that right?
yeah, he went to school and they,
Okay. He was in Lois Craig, but there was a release and transfer. Because he was enrolled 116 days and he was absent 59. Do you see that?
excuse me,
Do you see that? It says list days enrolled.
This I had, okay, yeah, I see that. This I
Okay,
had,
and as for a reason, again, it says whereabouts unknown.
yeah,
Do you
see
see
this,
that?
yes, I do,
Okay, let's go on to the next page.
okay,
Page 292, from Woolley. You testified about Woolley.
Boyle Elementary.
Enter date was November 26/12, leave date was 5/9/13. So he went there about 6 months, let's say. Is that right?
Okay,
And reason for withdrawal, unattendance, parental refused to send students.
they flat, it's
Is
false,
that what the form says?
yes, it is,
But you say that's not true.
yes, I do,
And down on the days enrolled, 102 days enrolled, absent 33, which is about a third of the time, right?
correct,
Okay, next page, page 293, William E. Snyder. Enter date 8/29/12,
he was at,
leave date 11/21/12. So
Okay.
he's there, give or take, about, let's say, 3 months.
okay,
And days enrolled 58, absent 28.
okay, and he was
Is
at,
that right? Is that what this form says?
that's what it says,
Then my question is, you testified that he's only been substantially absent from school back 2 years.
yes,
Okay, isn't it true that he's been substantially absent from school for the last, over 3 years?
But, okay,
Is that true?
no, it's not true.
So these school records are incorrect?
Yes, absolutely,
So
absolutely.
they do not list the correct days that he's been absent from school? The correct total?
Yeah, that's why I had a case with the OCR again, because there's papers, and any days, you know, wait, I don't know, I don't have
So you
everything
think he
down in
has
front of
been
me.
in school substantially?
I'm sorry?
So is it your testimony that the boy has been in school substantially for the last 3 years?
Yes, yes, except for last
Thank you,
year.
you've answered the question. So you testified, or is it true that you testified at Bench Elementary, the problem was they wanted to start school at Dustin School at 7 a.m.?
That was an issue.
Thank you. Jason believes that besides medication, he believes that holistic medicine could be helpful to Dustin. Do you believe that's a legitimate area to inquire into?
No.
Now, on this anaphylactic shock, isn't it true that your boy had a reaction to penicillin? Amoxicillin.
He had anaphylactic shock at 2 months old to amoxicillin, yes.
Thank you. But you don't have those records in front of us.
No, I don't.
You have no driver's license, is that correct?
No, I don't. I just have to get it reinstated. I have had my driver's license.
Do you have a car? Or a vehicle?
No, not at this moment. Every bit of money I've had has been to
There's
take
no
care of my
question
son.
pending, ma'am.
Okay.
Come on, Mr. Rudy.
Is it your testimony that you wish to rehire? Oh, Your Honor, it's past 11, so I'll just wait.
I thought you had your phone on.
I do. I just
Yeah, okay, well, I assume it'll ring if they want you, right?
Yes, Your Honor. You've heard the testimony of Deborah Armstrong, is that correct?
Yeah.
And she testified that you were homeschooling Dustin?
Yes.
Okay. Were you homeschooling Dustin?
Yes.
Is it your testimony that, did you ever give a notice of intent to homeschool to the school district?
I've spoken with him verbally about this, yes.
Well, but that's not my question. My question is, did you ever give them a written notice of intent to homeschool?
I'm not sure, and I can't answer that.
Did the school district ever give you a copy of NRS 392-700?
I can't recall.
Okay. Isn't it true that within that statute, not only have to get a notice of intent to homeschool, but you also, under subsection 12, have to give a very extensive homeschooling plan?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, you don't have to give a plan requiring, quote, educational plan of instruction for the child in subject areas of English, including reading, composition, writing, mathematics, science, social studies, including history, geography, economics, and government as appropriate for the age and level of skill of the child?
I don't believe so. You just have to have a curriculum.
So my question is, you never give the school district a school plan, a homeschool plan, right?
I've spoken with him about this. All I had to have was a
That's not
curriculum.
my question.
Okay.
Did you ever give the school district a written homeschool plan?
I can't, I don't recall.
Did you ever give the school district a written notice of intent to homeschool?
I don't recall on that.
Then, don't you believe that's why the school district doesn't accept that you tried to homeschool Dustin?
I'm clueless. I don't know.
Do you still plan, you testified that you still plan to hire Deborah Armstrong, right?
Yes.
But isn't it true that Deborah Armstrong was completely ineffective in her 6 hours a week as a tutor for Dustin?
No, that's not true.
Well, if that were not true, why is Dustin now still at a kindergarten level in 2nd grade?
Because he's not being taught at the schools. He's in the wrong kind of class.
So the schools are wrong.
I didn't say that. I did not
But
say that.
isn't that the inevitable logic of your testimony?
No, it's not.
Isn't that why you're suing the school district?
No, and I'm not suing the school district, no. That's not.
Now, when you were in the hospital for your physical problems, isn't it true that Jason wanted to offer to take Dustin, take care of him?
No, it's not.
You had no communication with Jason at all during this time?
No, I had communication with him.
But you're saying he didn't offer because you weren't available?
No, I was told that he has to work and that his mom has to work, that he couldn't.
Where did the child stay?
I offered.
You offered?
Yes, I did.
You offered to allow Jason,
Yes.
you offered to allow Dustin to go with Jason to
Grandma.
California?
The grandma. To
To go
help.
grandma?
Yeah,
Do you have any proof of that at all?
no, I don't.
Where did, in fact, where did the boy stay?
With the tutor and me,
Well, you were in the hospital, right?
yeah.
My question is, how could Dustin stay with you if you were in the hospital?
The tutor and then me.
So all three of you were in the hospital together?
No.
I'm confused.
He stayed at the tutor's house with the tutor while I was in the hospital. The day I got out is the day he came home.
So you testified that you believe the school was at fault for this anaphylactic shock incident, and that's why you took Dustin out of school in January of 2014. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Angela Knight, that was her name. You claim that the school facilitator, Angela Knight, was at fault because she grabbed the child's hand, right?
Objection asked and answered.
It has.
Oh, okay, I asked that, I'll move on. Isn't it true at the time that the reason why she did that was because he was hitting another child?
That's not true. He went to grab a toy, and she admitted it. And that was, yeah.
So when you say you don't agree with the, is it your testimony you do not agree with the school's current IEP on Dustin?
That's a hard one to answer. There are things I don't agree with, not that I don't
Didn't you
agree.
testify that you don't agree with it?
I don't agree with them saying that he doesn't have expressive and receptive language. That's all.
Any other points of disagreement?
I would say not so much.
Have you taken steps to block or delay the effectiveness of the IEP?
Oh, no, I just spoke with the principal 2 days ago, and we're trying to get the annual IEP, 3-year annual IEP, and we're getting something together right now for further testing, because the principal said that he has seen some things in Dustin that I've been trying to explain to them about the receptive language, about his learning in larger groups and stuff like that, so I'm working with the school.
Well, that confuses me because on direct examination, you flatly testified that Dustin can't learn in school, didn't you?
That was not my intended
Is that what
words.
you testified to?
No, not that he can't learn in
And you
school.
testified you always wanted Jason in Dustin's life.
Yes,
Well, how do you reconcile that statement with not allowing Dad to take the child for visitation in California from 2011 until the judge ordered it in 2015?
okay, how I do that is because we're talking about when Jason first came in his life, when he was a stranger, and when he asked me if he could take him for 3 months to California.
Well, isn't it true that if we hadn't started this litigation, you still would not have allowed
That's,
Dad to take the child to California?
yeah, that's true.
Okay, basically, you decided to have him on supervised visitation until the judge ordered otherwise, right?
That's not true. No, that's not true, no.
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm getting a ring. May I answer it?
Please, we'll go off the record. You can step out.
Mr. Root speaking, can I help you?
Just sit tight, man.
No problem, thank you.
It's the court, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
May I tell the,
No, you can leave.
oh, yes, sir. Good morning, Your Honor.